Miongoni mwa vitu nilivyoahidi.
Among the things I promised when I was sworn in,
Chinese companies have steadily invested in several infrastructure projects in Tanzania over the last decade.
This bridge will be 390 meters long, and it will also have 700-meter access roads on both sides of the bridge.
Breaking. China has just unleashed a $300 million megabridge in Tanzania, and the ripple effect is nothing short of explosive. This isn't just a bridge, it's a power move on the world stage. Overnight, trade routes shifted, alliances trembled, and global powers were caught off guard. Africa's infrastructure game has entered a new era, and China is calling the shots. What does this mean for sovereignty, debt, and influence in the region? The facts are in, and what's unfolding could rewrite Africa's future. This is a global shockwave you can't afford to ignore. A bridge that changed everything. From a grueling 2-hour ferry wait to a 4-minute drive, Tanzania's new Magufuli Bridge has transformed life across the Lake Victoria region, stretching 4.66 kilometers in total, 3 of them spanning open water. It connects Kigongo in Mwanza region to Busisi in Sengerema district.
During the launch, the Minister of Works says President Samia found the project to be at 25% complete, and now it is officially inaugurated.
Constructed by China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation, CCECC, and China Railway 15th Bureau, this project replaces a broken ferry system that had long served as a bottleneck to development. Traders, commuters, and emergency services were once held hostage by unreliable ferries that frequently broke down or were halted by floating vegetation like water hyacinths. Now, for the first time, mobility is guaranteed regardless of weather or time of day. Fish vendor Cecilia Maziku recalls losing income due to delays. Sometimes fish would rot before reaching Geita or Sengerema. Now I can deliver fresh stock quickly and my business has picked up. For others, it's about reliability. We can now work day and night without worrying about ferries breaking down or long queues, said trader Masakalija. With pedestrian walkways built into the structure, safety and accessibility are visibly improved.
This flyover is the biggest project of its kind in the whole country. It funnels over 60,000 vehicles each day to and from the city center. The government now wants to build more of these to replicate Dar es Salaam's rapid growth elsewhere.
The $300 million investment isn't just about transport, it's about transformation. In a country where over 80% of cargo and commuters depend on roadways, this project acts as a critical link across one of East Africa's most commercially vital regions. Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu Hassan emphasized this during the bridge's June 24th inauguration.
This marks the official launch of the strategic 718 billion shillings John Pombe Magufuli Bridge.
This bridge is a symbol of Tanzania's self-reliance and a catalyst for regional development. And with connections not just across Tanzania, but also into neighboring Rwanda, Burundi, Uganda, and the Democratic Republic of Congo, the implications reach far beyond domestic convenience. The Magufuli Bridge now stands as the longest in East and Central Africa and 6th longest on the continent, an icon of ambition and execution in a region on the rise. Economic lifeline for Tanzania's lake zone. The Magufuli Bridge is more than just a structure. It's a stimulus package on concrete pillars. By connecting 2 rapidly developing regions across Lake Victoria, it unlocks trade routes and compresses travel time for goods, services, and people. Mwanza and Geita, both located in Tanzania's lake zone, are home to key fishing, mining, and agricultural sectors. With the bridge in place, farmers and traders now access markets faster, and supply chains operate with greater efficiency. For fish vendor Cecilia Maziku, the difference is already measurable. My income has improved. I don't lose fish anymore. I sell more, I earn more, she shared. Local businesses that once suffered from erratic ferry delays now operate around the clock, revitalizing commerce in ways that previously seemed out of reach. Esther Mongo, a Misungwi resident, captured the community's sentiment. During the rainy season, vehicles would line up for hours. Once we waited more than 6 hours because water hyacinths jammed a ferry's engine. Now we cross the lake in under 4 minutes. It's life-changing. Tanzanian authorities estimate the bridge could increase trade volume in the region by as much as 35% within the next 2 years. Notably, tourism is expected to rise as well, driven by both the structure's elegant design and its location. Visitors will come to see it, and that means more income for the region, said Mongo. The bridge has also served as a platform for workforce development. About 95% of the workers involved in its construction were Tanzanian, and many gained advanced skills in engineering and project management. Jennifer William, 27, worked as a site engineer and credits the experience for opening new career pathways. "I learned Chinese construction techniques and values like discipline and teamwork," she said. The Magufuli Bridge is reshaping Tanzania's economy one vehicle, one shipment, one commuter at a time. What was once a barrier is now a launch pad, linking communities, fueling growth, and stitching together a more connected national economy.
To truly be considered a city, this kind of structure is necessary. In fact, we are late. As a country, we are late. We should have had these constructed since the olden days.
China's deepening footprint in Africa. The construction of the Magufuli Bridge marks another high-profile milestone in China's expanding presence across Africa under the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI. Funded entirely through Tanzania's domestic budget, totaling over 750 billion Tanzanian shillings, or about $300 million, the project nevertheless leaned heavily on Chinese engineering, labor support, and strategic guidance. Chinese ambassador to Tanzania Chen Mingjian hailed the project as a model of China-Tanzania cooperation, underscoring Beijing's ability to deliver large-scale infrastructure quickly, efficiently, and without the political strings often associated with Western aid. The collaboration also provided fertile ground for technical exchange. Qin Rong, deputy manager of the bridge project, noted that nearly all labor was sourced locally. About 95% of our workforce was Tanzanian. They learned, adapted, and thrived, said Qin. This is part of a broader Chinese strategy to blend soft power with steel and concrete, embedding goodwill through roads, rail, and bridges that bind economies, and loyalties. The symbolic naming of the structure after former President John Pombe Magufuli, a champion of Tanzanian independence and sovereignty, ties neatly into China's narrative of mutual respect and non-interference. In contrast, critics argue that such deep infrastructure footprints could eventually tether African nations too tightly to Chinese interests. But for Tanzanians on the ground, the benefits are tangible and immediate. Beijing Jiaotong University alumnus Katalula Salum Kaswaga, now a project engineer at the Tanzania National Roads Agency, said the experience proves what Tanzanians can achieve with the right partnerships. "We've shown what Tanzanians can do. It's time to scale it up." China's presence in Africa isn't new, but it's evolving. From resource extraction to value creation, Beijing is now in the business of reshaping how Africa moves, trades, and builds. And while many Western observers remain wary, for nations like Tanzania, the results are not measured in ideology. They're measured in infrastructure, income, and impact, the U.S. response, and global implications. The opening of Tanzania's Magufuli Bridge, funded domestically but constructed by Chinese firms, serves as a potent symbol of Beijing's expanding influence in Africa, at a time when U.S. engagement on the continent has appeared more cautious and reactive. While Washington has prioritized programs in health, democracy, and counterterrorism, Beijing has focused squarely on infrastructure and logistics, elements critical to economic transformation. This strategic contrast is being felt across the continent. In Tanzania, the bridge's completion reinforces perceptions that China delivers quickly, visibly, and with long-term value. This is more than just a bridge. It's a reminder that China builds while others debate, said one Tanzanian analyst. By comparison, U.S. infrastructure investments have often been tied to policy reform benchmarks, political conditions, or slow-moving multilateral frameworks. With the Magufuli Bridge, China didn't just offer technical expertise. It aligned itself with Tanzania's vision of self-reliance and regional integration. President Samia Suluhu Hassan praised the bridge as a milestone in economic independence. "It connects us not only internally, but also to our neighbors," she stated, referencing Burundi, Rwanda, Uganda, and the DRC. Such regional positioning carries geopolitical weight. As East Africa becomes a hub for trade corridors like the Central Corridor and Northern Corridor, whoever controls the infrastructure controls the influence. Washington is not entirely out of the picture. Initiatives like Prosper Africa and the Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment are intended to counterbalance China's reach. But with tangible projects like the Magufuli Bridge already operational, the perception gap is growing. For Tanzanians, the math is simple: less time commuting, lower transportation costs, and more regional trade. For China, it's a textbook case of infrastructure diplomacy. And for the US, it's a wake-up call. As African nations weigh partnerships for the next century, deeds, not words, are what resonate. In this race to shape the continent's future, bridges like the one over Lake Victoria aren't just concrete, they're statements of global strategy and national pride. The dust has barely settled, but the message is loud and clear. China's $300 million mega bridge in Tanzania has shaken the world. It's not just concrete, it's control, influence, and a warning shot to the West. With Africa rising and China accelerating its grip, this project may have changed the balance of power forever. Will other nations follow or fight back? The world is watching, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Subscribe for more breaking stories like this, because history is being built, one bridge at a time.